Chapter 1. The Storm That Carried a Wolf. The storm didn't sound natural. It wasn't only the thunder, though it cracked across the valley like the sky splitting open. It was the way the wind howled, long and low, almost like a creature grieving, like something ancient calling out through the dark pines. I tightened my jacket around my shoulders as I hurried down the forest road, cursing myself for staying late at the shop. The storm had rolled in faster than the forecast promised, swallowing the last traces of daylight. My phone had died 3 miles back, and my car was sitting useless in the ditch behind me, steam curling from the hood where it had struck a fallen branch. Perfect. Another disaster to add to a life already full of them. Branches whipped overhead, flinging needles across the path. I kept walking. There was nothing else to do. Not with town still a mile away. Every so often lightning flashed across the sky, turning the world to brief, brilliant silver. The shadows of trees stretched like skeletal fingers along the ground. Then I heard it. Not the storm. Not an animal. A sound so soft at first I thought it was wind. But no. The cadence. The weight of it. Footsteps. My skin prickled. I turned. Nothing behind me but trees swaying violently, their trunks groaning under the force of the wind. But I felt it. A pressure on the air, like being watched from behind a curtain. Hello? My voice trembled embarrassingly. No answer. Only thunder. Maybe it was just my nerves. After everything with Dad, after everything with the fire, I was always on edge, always listening for danger that wasn't there. I shook it off and kept walking. The next flash of lightning illuminated something that made my breath hitch. A massive shape between the trees ahead, low to the ground, unmoving. A dog? No. Too large. Too still. Another flash. White light carved across the world. A wolf. Huge, dark-furred, eyes gleaming like embers as it met my gaze. My heart slammed into my ribs. Wolves weren't supposed to wander this close to town. They weren't supposed to stare at humans like that. Intensely, knowingly. Its chest rose and fell, slow and controlled, as if it were assessing me. The wolf stepped forward, and my legs finally remembered how to move. I stumbled back, slipping on the wet gravel, scrambling for footing. No, stay back. But the wolf didn't attack. It didn't even bare its teeth. It took another step, its gaze locked on me, focused and sharp. A question lived in those eyes, or a warning. The storm surged, a violent blast of wind pushing between us. The wolf suddenly flinched, head snapping to the side as if hearing something I couldn't. Its ears flattened. Then it turned. Not toward the forest, toward me, and collapsed. I froze. The giant creature hit the ground hard, its body shuddering, legs kicking weakly. A choked sound left its throat, half snarl, half agony. I should run. Every rational part of me screamed it. But seeing such a powerful creature writhing helplessly stirred something else. Something I didn't recognize. Hey, I whispered, taking a step forward before I could stop myself. Are you hurt? The wolf panted harshly, steam rising from its body as rain hissed across its fur. I swallowed, my fear shifting into something else entirely, concern, curiosity, and, for reasons I couldn't explain, an inexplicable pull toward him. Another flash of lightning, this one so bright the world lit up like cracked glass. The wolf's body arched and shifted. Not fully. Not cleanly. I'd blink and swear it was just a trick of lightning, but what I saw? Bones contorting beneath the skin. Limbs lengthening. Fur receding in patches. I stumbled back with a gasp, my hands flying to my mouth. My heart thundered so loudly I could barely hear the storm. No, I whispered. No, that's not possible. A groan, human, unmistakably human, cut through the wind. And where the wolf had lain seconds before, a man now struggled upright, bracing a trembling arm against the ground. A man. Naked, except for the rain-soaked dirt clinging to his skin. Broad-shouldered, tall, his body carved with lean muscle that trembled with the effort of holding himself up. Long, dark hair hung over his face, plastered to sharp cheekbones. Something glimmered at his temple. Blood. His voice was rough, low, threaded with pain. "Stay back." I staggered, breath frozen in my throat. You were... Stay back." His head lifted, his eyes, those same ember-bright eyes as the wolf, locked onto mine. "It's not safe." My mind spun. I tried to form words, but everything came out as startled half-breaths. What are you?" His jaw clenched, and he looked away as if ashamed. "Something dangerous." The wind lashed between us, carrying the scent of rain, pine, and something else. Warm, earthy, electric. It wrapped around me and hit somewhere deep inside, a sensation so foreign it made my knees weaken. He smelled like home, like destiny, like something I had been searching for without knowing. He hissed in pain, gripping his chest. I stepped forward instinctively. "Wait. You're hurt. Let me help you." He shook his head, bracing himself against the tree trunk. "You shouldn't be near me right now." "But you're injured." "I'm always injured." His voice was strained, bitter. This is nothing." He tried to push himself to his feet and nearly collapsed again. I caught him on reflex, my hands landing on his bare arms, hot under the rain, muscles coiled tight as stone. The moment our skin touched, something sparked. Literal heat, racing up my skin like lightning, traveled through nerves. He felt it too. His eyes widened, pupils dilating. "What was that?" I whispered, breathless. He didn't answer. Instead, he turned his face away, as if the storm wasn't loud enough to hide. Whatever war raged inside him. I steadied him, ignoring the tremble in my hands. "There's an old ranger cabin half a mile up the trail. We can get you out of the storm." "You shouldn't help me," he rasped. "Then it's a good thing you're in no position to argue." A ghost of a sound, almost a laugh, almost a growl, escaped him. He leaned on me reluctantly, his weight heavy but controlled. Step by slow step, we made our way through the rain. I could feel the heat of him even through the soaked clothing on my side. Could feel tension thrumming under his skin, like something inside him clawed to the surface. Finally, the cabin's outline appeared in the gloom, a small wooden structure half swallowed by moss and shadow. I helped him through the door. The moment he crossed the threshold, he stumbled again, catching himself on the wall with a low curse. I grabbed a blanket from the trunk near the fireplace and wrapped it around his shoulders. Up close, in the flickering lantern light I managed to ignite, he was even more breathtaking and more terrifying. Storm-forged, wounded, beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. He watched me carefully, guardedly, as if unsure whether I was friend or threat. The embers of his gaze softened for a moment. "You shouldn't have helped me," he murmured. "People who get close to me get hurt." I swallowed, pulse hammering. Maybe I'm already hurt. He stared at me then, really stared, like he saw something in me I didn't know was visible. Then, softly, with a gravity that chilled me, "You shouldn't be anywhere near a wolf." My breath stopped. He didn't try to hide the word, and he didn't look away when he said it. Chapter 2. The Man Behind the Wolf. The cabin door rattled behind us as the storm hurled itself against the mountain, a beast of wind and thunder trying to claw its way inside. But in here, in the dim lantern glow, another kind of storm simmered. Quiet, coiled, dangerously intimate. He sat on the edge of the old wooden bench, the wool blanket hanging loosely around his shoulders. rainwater dripping from the ends of his dark hair onto the floorboards. His posture was tense, every muscle held in a state of restrained readiness, as if he expected to leap to his feet, or shift, at any moment. He didn't look at me, but he didn't take his eyes off the door either, as if he wasn't sure which one of us he should be more wary of. I knelt by the old stove, feeding tinder into its belly, coaxing the flame to life. My hands trembled. Whether from cold or shock, I didn't know. Probably both. You keep staring at the door like someone's going to burst through it, I said quietly. He didn't answer at first. Then, without turning his head, he murmured, "Not someone." The meaning settled over me like frost. Not someone. Something. The fire crackled to life, casting warm light along the walls. I stood slowly, wiping my damp palms against my jeans. I should be terrified. Any sane person would be. But fear wasn't the only thing blooming in my chest. Curiosity pulsed right beside it. I turned to face him fully. "You said I shouldn't be near a wolf." He didn't react. "So I'm assuming that means you're not the only one." His jaw tightened ever so slightly. A tiny tell. He did a good job of masking his emotions, but not perfectly. I took a slow step toward him. "What's out there?" "Nothing you need to worry about," he said, too sharply. Lightning flooded the windows for a moment, illuminating his profile, the sharp angles, the fierce, haunted beauty of him. Something about him felt carved from the forest itself. Untamed, dangerous, a force of nature walking in human skin. I crossed my arms, refusing to cower. You can't drop something like that and expect me not to ask questions. At that, he finally looked at me. The shift was small, just a turn of his head, but it hit me like an impact. His eyes were molten amber in the lantern glow, swirling with warning, and something else I couldn't decode. "You should have kept walking," he murmured. "You should have run when you saw me." "I'm not in the habit of abandoning injured people in the woods." He flinched, a flicker of something raw crossing his expression. Shame? Pain? I couldn't tell. "You think I'm a person," he said. "That's your first mistake." I swallowed hard. "You were a wolf. Then you were a man. And both times you looked like someone hurting." He looked away again, jaw clenching. "You don't understand what you saw." "Then help me understand." "No." The finality in his voice should have ended the conversation. But I'd never been good at letting things go. Not when every part of my life had taught me that silence was dangerous. Silence meant secrets. Secrets meant fires started in the night without warning. I stepped closer. He stiffened immediately, straightening but not moving away. "If you're dangerous," I said softly, "then why warn me?" His breath hitched. Just barely. "I don't know." A gust of wind slammed against the cabin, making the lantern flicker. I reached out instinctively, bracing myself on the bench beside him. His fingers twitched under the blanket, as if fighting the urge to pull away. Or pull me closer. "You never told me your name," I said. "You never asked." "I'm asking now." His throat worked as he swallowed. "Kai." Kai. It suited him. Strong, harsh, elemental. I lowered my voice. "I'm Alina." At my name, something flickered across his eyes. Recognition? No. Impossible. We'd never met. But the way he looked at me, like he knew me, like he'd sensed me long before this night. "You shouldn't be here with me, Alina," he said, voice low, fraying. "You don't know what I've done, what I am." "You're a shifter," I said before fear could make me hesitate. That much I figured out. His pulse jumped visibly at the base of his throat. "That word," he whispered, almost to himself. "You shouldn't even know that word." "Well," I exhaled. "I learn fast." Kai's breathing shifted, deeper, uneven. Something inside him reacted to my steady gaze. I felt it again. That strange magnetic pull, like gravity bending, drawing me toward him. The air between us thickened. Then he suddenly stood, the blanket falling toward the floor. I startled back, but he caught himself, gripping the wall for support, chest heaving from the effort. Even wounded, his presence filled the entire space. "Don't stand," I said. "You're still hurt." "I heal fast," he growled. "That's the problem." His voice carried an edge, not rage exactly, but fear painted as anger. Fear of himself. Kai dragged a hand through his hair. "Do you know what happens when a wolf is this close to someone who shouldn't be near him? Someone who smells like—" He cut himself off violently. My breath froze. "Smells like what?" He shut his eyes, pinching the bridge of his nose, muscles taut with restraint. "It doesn't matter." "It does to me." "No," he snapped, and the lantern flame trembled as if reacting to his mood. "It doesn't. Because you're leaving this cabin the moment the storm breaks. You're going home. You're forgetting this night ever happened." "And if I don't?" Kai opened his eyes. Amber. Blazing. Haunted. "Then the wolf won't let you go?" The words stole the air from my lungs. Another flash of lightning illuminated him fully. Tall, powerful, dark hair dripping down his shoulders, eyes wild with warning and want. "Explain," I said, voice shaking only slightly. "I can't." His fists clenched. "If I tell you, things get worse." "For who?" "For you." The vulnerability in his voice hit deeper than the threat ever could. I took a small step toward him. "Let me decide what's dangerous for me." Lightning cracked again. In that flash, something moved behind his eyes, like the wolf inside him surged forward, reacting not to the storm, but to me. He froze, breath stopping. Then, in a voice barely human, "Alina, don't come any closer." I kept my voice steady. "Why not?" His chest rose and fell in sharp, uneven breaths. "Because I can't shift again tonight. Not safely. Not around you." The cabin felt too small, too hot, too charged. "Kai," I whispered. "What is happening?" His gaze locked on mine, raw, unfiltered. "The storm isn't what brought me here," he said. "You did." My pulse stumbled. "I don't understand." "You're not supposed to." He stepped back, though it clearly pained him. "Not yet." "Then tell me when." He hesitated, just a fraction, then shook his head. "I shouldn't be near you." "But you are. And it's already too late," he breathed. "I felt it. The moment you touched me, the wolf recognized you." My heart pounded. "Recognized me as what?" Thunder answered before he did. Kai's lips parted, voice dropping to a near whisper. "As mine." The room tilted. Before I could speak, before either of us could process it, a sound ripped through the storm outside. A howl. Not his. Not far away. Kai's head snapped toward the door, muscles going rigid. My blood ran cold. "Kai," I whispered. "What was that?" He turned toward me, eyes bright with something fierce and terrifying. "They're tracking me," he said. "And now they've found us." Chapter 3. The wolves at the door. The howl rolled across the mountainside like a blade dragged over stone, sharp, hungry, too close. Kai's head snapped toward the door, every muscle going taut, the air around him shifting from tense to electric. His pupils thinned, amber bleeding into gold, and for a moment I saw the wolf again, just beneath his skin, pacing. My breath hitched. "Tell me that was just the storm." "It wasn't," he said, voice low, controlled, terrifyingly calm. "They found my trail." "They who?" I pressed. He didn't answer. Another howl answered the first. This one deeper, closer. So close the wooden frame of the cabin shuddered. My heart slammed painfully in my chest. "Kai, get behind me." I did. I didn't even think about it. Something in his tone, an instinct older than reason, propelled my feet without question. I moved behind him just as he shifted his stance, planting himself between me and the door in a way that stole my breath. Not a threat, a shield. Kai, talk to me, I whispered. What's coming? Wolves, he murmured. Not mine, not friendly. He glanced at me over his shoulder. His eyes glowed faintly in the lantern light, wild and beautiful and terrifying. You need to stay quiet, he continued. Stay small, if they think you're with me. Aren't I? His jaw clenched. You shouldn't be. But I was here. We both knew it. Rain lashed against the windows, a violent drumbeat that mixed with the sound of branches snapping outside. Something was moving through the trees, large, fast, deliberate. Kai, I breathed. They're circling. I know. Can you fight them? He didn't answer immediately, and that silence chilled me more than the storm. Finally, he said, not in this state. You're still hurt. He gave a humorless exhale. You could say that. A snarl tore through the night. Then a thud hit the cabin wall. I gasped, stepping back. Kai didn't move except to position himself even more in front of me, his body coiled like a drawn bowstring. The lantern flame flickered. Another thud. Then a growl. Deep, resonant. A sound that vibrated through the floorboards and into my bones. Kai, please, I whispered. Tell me what they want. His breath was rough. Me. Another blow hit the door, harder this time, the wood groaning under the impact. They'll come through if they know you're weak, I murmured. That's why I said to keep quiet. My heart hammered so violently I thought it might give me away. The shadows danced wildly as the lantern shook with each impact. I could hear claws scraping against the outer wall, the scrape long and deliberate, like a warning. Or a claim. Kai's voice dropped to a whisper. Alina, don't be afraid of me, but listen to me. I swallowed, forcing my breathing to steady. I am listening. If they break in, he said, I won't be able to hold back the wolf. He'll react before I can think. And what does that mean? He turned then, slowly, facing me fully. His eyes weren't human anymore, not entirely. Gold flecked through amber, sharp and luminous. It means I'll get between you and them, he said, no matter what. A shiver ran through me, not from fear, from the way he said you. Another impact slammed the door, splintering wood this time. I flinched. Kai growled. Not fully human, a low rumble vibrating through the cabin. You need to hide, he said. Now. I'm not leaving you. It's not about me. His voice cracked, danger and desperation woven together. If they see you, if they catch your scent, they'll know. Know what? He closed his eyes, pain tightening his features. That you matter to me. Everything inside me stilled. Kai. The door cracked, claw marks carved into the wood. A hot gust of breath, or maybe steam, puffed through the growing split. No more time. I grabbed Kai's arm. What do I do? He guided me back toward the narrow storage alcove near the stove. He moved fast despite his injuries, gripping my waist to maneuver me behind the stacked crates. His touch was fire. Kai! He cupped my jaw suddenly, forcing my gaze up to his. His thumb brushed my cheekbone, trembling. If anything happens, he murmured, don't come out. Not even if I fall. Especially if I fall. Kai, don't say that. He leaned in, his forehead resting against mine with a raw, aching sound. His breath mingled with mine, warm despite the cold storm air. I can hear your heartbeat, he whispered. The wolf can too. It's maddening. My pulse raced faster at his words. Stay hidden, he breathed. Please, Alina. Then he pulled away, too quickly, as if touching me hurt him more than the wounds he carried. The door shuddered again. He stepped toward it, shoulders broad, silhouette cast in firelight like some fierce ancient guardian carved from smoke and lightning. I curled behind the crates, heart in my throat. I peeked through a crack. Kai rolled his neck, fists clenching. His breathing deepened, chest rising and falling with growing intensity. A ripple moved under his skin. Not a full shift. Not yet. But close. The moment stretched. The storm howled. And then the door exploded inward. Splinters flew across the cabin. A massive wolf barreled through the opening, larger than any natural creature, its fur black as night, eyes glowing with vicious intelligence. It snarled at Kai, teeth bared. Kai growled back, a sound no human throat should make. Then he lunged. They collided with bone-cracking force, slamming into the wall. The rival wolf snapped its jaws inches from Kai's throat. Kai drove his elbow into its ribs, knocking it sideways. Another wolf darted in behind the first. This one gray, leaner but faster. It lunged. "Kai!" I whispered in horror. He spun, barely catching the gray wolf by the scruff, using its momentum to fling it across the room. The black wolf recovered first, launching at him again. Kai braced for impact, a feral snarl ripping from his chest as claws raked across his arm. Blood hit the floorboards. I gasped, hand flying to my mouth. Kai staggered but did not fall. Instead, something inside him snapped, audibly. A ripple of light, or maybe heat, raced across his skin. His back arched, his hands curled, fingers extending like claws. His eyes flared gold. He didn't shift completely, but the wolf inside surged forward, twisting his features into something wild, beautiful, and terrifying. The rival wolves hesitated, just long enough for Kai to seize the black wolf by the throat and hurl it out the broken doorway with supernatural strength. The gray one lunged again. This time, Kai met it midair. They crashed to the floor in a blur of teeth and fury, and I bit down a cry as the struggle intensified. Raw, brutal, animal. "Kai," I whispered, barely breathing. He slammed the gray wolf down, pinning it. His fist struck hard, once, twice, until the creature whimpered, defeated. It scrambled up and fled into the night. The black wolf, its eyes burning with malice, gave one final snarl before retreating after its companion. Only when silence fell did Kai collapse to one knee. His breath tore from him in ragged bursts. The gold in his eyes flickered, slowly dimming. I crawled out from hiding, unable to stay back any longer. Kai, you're bleeding." He raised a hand weakly. Don't touch me." "You're hurt," I insisted, tears blurring my vision. "Let me." "You can't." His voice broke. "Not when the wolf is this close." I froze mere inches away. He trembled, head bowed, muscles twitching as if fighting a war inside his own skin. "Alina." His voice was rough, almost pleading. "Do you know what almost happened?" "You protected me," I whispered. Lightning illuminated his face, torn, exhausted, haunted. "No," he said. "I almost shifted fully. If I had, I don't know if I would have recognized you fast enough." The truth hit like a blow. But then he lifted his gaze, half man, half wolf, fully unraveling. "And I couldn't bear it," he whispered, voice breaking open, raw. "I couldn't bear to hurt you." My breath stuttered. "Kai." Another howl echoed outside, farther away now, fainter. But Kai wasn't looking at the door anymore. He was looking at me as if I were the only thing in the world he feared, and the only thing he wanted. And with a trembling exhale, he whispered, "You asked what you are to me." Lightning flashed. "You're the one the wolf chooses." Chapter 4. The wolf's claim, the man's denial. Silence settled over the cabin after the wolves retreated. Heavy, trembling, electric. The storm still raged outside, but inside the danger had taken a different shape. It breathed raggedly. It knelt on the floorboards, blood dripping from its arm, its eyes flickering between gold and ember. Kai. He stayed on one knee, shoulders heaving, gripping the edge of the overturned bench like it was the only thing anchoring him to the human world. "The one the wolf chooses," I whispered, the words trembling on my tongue. "Kai, what does that mean?" He squeezed his eyes shut, hard, as if bracing himself against something violent, something inside. "It means," he rasped, "that you need to leave. Tonight. As soon as the storm gives even a fraction of mercy." My heart stuttered. "After what just happened? You expect me to abandon you bleeding on the floor?" "I expect you to survive," he growled. Not at me, at himself. He pushed upright, bracing his hand against the wall. His breath hitched with the pain of movement, but he forced himself to stand. Every line of him shook with effort. His skin glistened with sweat despite the cold, and the wounds on his arm and shoulder bled freely. "You're hurt," I insisted, stepping toward him. "Do not come closer." The words were raw, desperate. "I'm not stable yet." I froze, but he swayed, and instinct won over fear. I lunged forward and caught him by the waist. He groaned, low, guttural, the sound vibrating through me, and collapsed against the wall rather than onto me. Still, his warmth pressed into my side. Heat rolled off him in waves, too hot for a normal human, like fever or fire. His breath brushed my ear. "Alina, please, please." The word gutted me. I eased him onto the bench, ignoring his attempt to pull away. "Let me look at your arm. I'll heal." "Not fast enough unless you want to pass out." I grabbed a torn strip from the blanket and pressed it into the wound on his shoulder. He hissed. Not in pain, but restraint. "You smell like rain," he murmured under his breath. It startled me enough that my hands stilled. "What?" He swallowed hard, pupils dilating. "Like rain on warm stone. Like..." His jaw locked, like he was choking back something dangerous. "I shouldn't be smelling you this much." Heat rose into my cheeks. "Is that a wolf thing?" His voice roughened. "It's a mate thing." The room tilted. I forced my hands to keep pressure on the wound. "Kai, I don't understand what's happening." "You don't want to understand." He said it like a prayer, like a warning, like a man begging fate to turn back. But fate didn't listen, and neither did I. "I want the truth," I said softly. His eyes lifted to mine, tortured, vulnerable, wild. "The truth is that the wolf inside me recognized you before I did. And once that happens, once the bond stirs, it changes everything." My breath caught. "Bond?" He looked away, jaw clenching. "There are legends among shifters, stories we don't tell to outsiders, about fate pulling two souls toward each other. Human or wolf, it doesn't matter. The scent hits first, then the pull, then the instincts." Instincts. My pulse quickened. Kai stiffened, his nostrils flaring ever so slightly. His voice deepened. "Your heartbeat just changed." Because, Kai, damn it." His lips curved with a ghost of something between anguish and hunger. "That's the problem." I tore my gaze away, focusing on the wound before I lost the courage to speak. "Is that why those wolves attacked? Because of this bond?" "They attacked because of me." He winced as I tightened the fabric. "But they'll come after you now too." A chill ran through me. "Why?" "Because you matter." His voice softened, dangerously intimate. "And anything that matters can be used against me." Thunder shook the cabin again, rattling the lantern. I swallowed hard. "Who were they?" I whispered. Kai's jaw tightened. "From a rival pack. They track weakness, they follow blood, and they caught my trail after a fight earlier tonight." He met my gaze again, haunted, hollow. I led them straight to you. The admission hit him harder than it hit me. Shame carved lines into his expression. You saved me, I said. I endangered you. You protected me. I lost control. You kept us alive. His breath stilled. For a moment, neither of us moved. The storm eased slightly, but the air inside the cabin grew hotter, thicker, charged with something more dangerous than claws or teeth. His eyes fell to my lips. A flicker. Barely there. I felt it like a shockwave. Kai, I whispered, my throat tight. Why does it feel like this? His answer was barely audible. Because you're the one I'm not supposed to want. A shiver rolled down my spine. He reached up, hesitant, trembling, and brushed a wet strand of hair from my cheek. His touch was reverent, devastated. I don't get to have this, he murmured. Not with what I am. And what are you? My voice shook. He leaned closer, too close, his breath warm against my jaw. Cursed, he whispered, bound to a fate that destroys everything it touches. He meant it, and it terrified him. Before I could speak, he pulled away, fingers curling into fists. His eyes glowed faintly like the wolf paced behind them. Again. You need to go home, he said. Tonight. No. Yes. No, Kai. If you stay near me, the bond will get stronger. Maybe I want to understand it. He went still, utterly still. Then, in a voice raw enough to bruise, I can't lose control with you. You didn't. I almost did. His breath trembled. You don't understand. The wolf doesn't just protect its mate, it claims, possessively, completely. And when I'm wounded and unstable like this, his gaze dragged down my face, my throat, lower. I might not be able to keep him back. Heat shot through me. My pulse tripped over itself. I hated how much I reacted, hated and craved it. Kai tore his gaze away, breathing like he'd been punched. We need distance, he said. We need... Something outside shifted. A branch snapped. Kai jerked upright, all instinct and fury again. No, he breathed. No, it's too soon for them to regroup. But it wasn't wolves this time. The doorframe creaked softly. Then came a voice. Low, calm, controlled. Kai? Kai's face drained of color. He whispered one word, full of dread. Alpha. The door opened, slowly, deliberately, and through it stepped a tall man with frost-gray eyes and an aura that chilled the room more than the storm. His gaze swept the cabin, paused on me, then locked on Kai. Explain, the Alpha said. Kai exhaled, broken, defeated. I felt the shift in the air. Our night wasn't over. It was just beginning. Chapter 5, Packlaw and Other Ruins. The man in the doorway radiated a presence that shifted the air. Not supernatural, not visibly, but powerful in a way that made every instinct in my body go still. Tall, broad-shouldered, sharp features carved from something older than the mountain itself. Gray eyes that missed nothing. Not a breath, not a heartbeat. Not the way Kai stiffened the moment he entered. Alpha, not a title, a force. The storm quieted outside, as if even the sky bowed its head. Kai rose to his feet too fast, pain shuddering visibly through him, but he refused to fall, refused to reveal weakness. He stood between the Alpha and me, his body a barrier, his breath sharp and uneven. Ronan, Kai said tightly. The Alpha's gaze flicked to Kai's bleeding shoulder. You're wounded. Kai didn't answer. Ronan stepped inside the cabin, closing the door gently behind him. Too gently. It was the quiet of someone who didn't need noise to command fear. Then his eyes found me. You brought a human, he said. Not a question. A verdict. Kai's shoulders tensed. She's not involved. Ronan arched an eyebrow. Her scent is everywhere in this room, Kai. Her heartbeat is loud enough to count. I froze. Ronan's attention sharpened, not cruel, but piercing, calculating. "What's your name?" he asked me. I opened my mouth, but Kai moved first, stepping in front of me. "She's irrelevant." Ronan's voice didn't rise, but the cabin seemed to shrink around it. "Step aside." I said she's not involved. And I said step aside. Their stares collided. Kai's jaw locked. A muscle ticked near Ronan's temple. The tension between them felt like the charged center of a storm, silent yet capable of tearing the world in two. Slowly, Kai stepped back. I felt the loss of his nearness more than I should have. Ronan regarded me again. "Name?" I swallowed. "Alina." Something flashed deeper in his eyes. A brief, silent calculation. "Kai," he murmured. "You understand what this means?" Kai's breath shook. "She's not—" he began. Ronan cut him off. "Her scent is all over you." Heat scorched my cheeks. Kai looked away sharply, jaw clenching. "It's not what you think," he said. "No?" Ronan's gaze swept the room. Blankets, overturned furniture, blood, claw marks. And then, me. Damp hair, torn jacket, shaking hands. "No," Ronan repeated quietly. "It's exactly what I think." "What are you thinking?" I demanded. Ronan turned his head slightly, studying me like one might study a puzzle with a missing piece. "That you either saved him or doomed him." My pulse skittered. Kai stepped forward again. "She saved my life. That's all." "That's not all," Ronan said. "It never is with a bond." Silence cracked open the space between us. My voice barely made it out. "You know about the bond?" Ronan's expression didn't change, but something colder seeped into the room. "I know what happens when a wolf nearly shifts with a human pressed against him in a storm-drenched cabin." Kai didn't... he didn't hurt me." "No," Ronan said. "He didn't." He looked at Kai again. "But he could've, and you know what that means." "Don't," Kai growled. Ronan's voice softened, not kindly, but firmly. "Kai." Kai's breath stuttered, and he dropped his gaze, fists trembling. I didn't understand all the words, but I understood the feel of them. Danger, shame, fear. "Kai," I said, stepping toward him. "Tell me." He flinched, not from pain, like my voice itself hurt. Ronan spoke instead. "When a wolf's control slips in front of someone the bond reacts to, the pack calls it a claiming surge. It's instinct. Dangerous instinct." "I didn't surge," Kai snapped. "I controlled it. Barely. I didn't touch her." Ronan's gaze flicked to me again. "And yet she touched you." Kai said nothing. "Isn't that how it started?" Ronan asked. "With your last—" Kai's snarl cut through the room. "Don't." The alpha fell silent. I looked between them, heart pounding. "Last what?" Kai stiffened, shoulders rising as if against a blow. Ronan answered for him. "His last mate." The world dropped out from under me. Kai turned away sharply, eyes squeezed shut, shame pulling every line of him, tight. My breath struggled to find a rhythm. "Mate?" I whispered. Kai exhaled a sound that was almost a plea. "Not now." But Ronan continued, voice calm, almost gentle. "The last woman the wolf recognized. She didn't survive the bond." Ice slid into my veins. Kai's voice cracked. "Ronan, stop." But Ronan never took his eyes off me. "Do you understand now why Kai is terrified of you?" I looked at Kai. He was shaking. Not from injury, from fear. My fear? Or his? "Kai," I whispered, stepping closer. "Look at me." He didn't move. "Kai." Slowly he lifted his head. His eyes were raw, broken, terrified in a way claws and wounds couldn't explain. "I can't go through that again," he whispered hoarsely. "I can't lose someone because the wolf can't control himself around her." The pain in his voice sliced through me. Ronan straightened. "She needs to leave. Tonight." before the scent settles deeper, before the bond roots. Kai didn't argue, he broke. I felt it across the room even without him speaking, like something inside him fractured. Like he was already grieving something he hadn't been allowed to keep. Ronan opened the door. Cold wind blasted through, carrying rain and pine and the faint metallic tang of blood. "Alina," Ronan said, "you'll follow me back to town. The roads are safe now." Safe. A word that had never felt so hollow. Kai stood motionless, jaw tight, eyes fixed on the floor as if looking at me might undo him. Ronan nodded once. "Come." I hesitated. Kai still didn't look up. Lightning flashed, illuminating the torn cabin, the overturned bench, the blood on the floor, and Kai's silhouette. Strong, broken, and refusing to reach for me even though everything in the air screamed that he wanted to. I took one step toward the door, then another. The third step felt like my bones were cracking. When I reached the threshold, I finally looked back. "Kai," I whispered. He didn't move. He didn't speak. But his fingers curled at his sides, painfully, desperately, as if holding himself back from crossing the room, as if the wolf inside him was clawing toward me. Ronan touched my shoulder gently. "Let him breathe. It's the only way to keep him alive." I stepped into the storm. The door closed behind me with a soft, devastating sound. It wasn't until we reached the tree line, Ronan leading a careful path, that I felt it. A pull, faint but unmistakable, like a string threading through my chest, tugging toward the cabin behind us, toward Kai. I inhaled sharply. Ronan glanced my way, unreadable. "You feel it already." "Yes," I whispered. "That's the bond," he said, "and it's only going to grow." Chapter 6. The Pull That Shouldn't Exist. The storm thinned to a cold mist by the time Ronan led me back to the road. The moon was a blurred smear behind heavy clouds, casting no light, only a pale, sickly glow that made the world feel fragile. We walked in silence. Our boots crunched along the mud-slick path. The trees whispered overhead. But underneath everything, beneath the fading storm, beneath my thoughts, beneath my skin, something pulsed. A pull. An invisible thread tugging through my ribs, drawing me back toward the cabin, toward Kai. I tried to ignore it, tried to focus on following Ronan's sure steps, but the sensation deepened, like a heartbeat that wasn't mine, like breath brushing the inside of my chest. I slowed without meaning to. Ronan stopped too, turning with the calm patience of someone who already knew why. "It's the bond," he said quietly. "I don't understand why I can feel him," I whispered. "I don't even know him." Ronan studied me, not unkindly, but with the precision of someone assessing the structural integrity of a bridge. "It's not knowing," he said. "It's recognition." "Recognition of what?" "Of possibility. Of fate." His voice softened, barely above the breeze. "The wolf side feels first. The human side follows. If it chooses." I wrapped my arms around myself, chilled despite the warmth of my breath fogging the air. "Kai didn't choose this." Ronan shook his head. "No. And he fears it for a reason." The memory of Kai's eyes, wild, broken, desperate, tightened my throat. His last mate. What happened? Ronan hesitated, brow furrowing. "It's his story to tell." "Ronan." I stepped closer. I need to know why he looked at me like that. Like he was afraid of hurting me just by breathing. Ronan exhaled, the sound heavy with years. "The bond doesn't always manifest cleanly. Some wolves have too much power to control it. Their instincts overpower their reason, especially if their past is marked by violence or trauma." My heart ached. "Kai?" "He isn't dangerous to the world," Ronan said. "He's dangerous to what he cares about." I swallowed. "To me. To anyone the bond touches," he corrected softly. "And for Kai, it touched before he was ready." Wind rustled through the trees. Somewhere far behind us, a faint echo rolled across the forest. Not a howl, just the storm shifting. But my pulse jumped anyway. Ronan placed a hand lightly on my shoulder. We should keep moving. We walked again, but the bond walked with me. Every few steps it tugged, as if Kai were pulling breath somewhere behind us, and my chest responded. I caught myself glancing back more than once, searching the shadows for a figure who wouldn't come. Halfway down the trail, Ronan spoke again. "You don't believe it yet," he murmured. "What?" "That you matter to him." I blinked back the sting in my eyes. "I barely know him." "And yet," Ronan said, "you're in pain walking away." My breath hitched. It's not like that." "It is," he said gently. "You just haven't accepted it." We reached the place where the storm had knocked my car off the road. It sat crooked in the ditch, lodging deep in mud and fallen branches. Ronan examined it briefly, then nodded to himself. "You'll need a tow truck tomorrow. For now, I'll take you back to town." He turned toward the gloom of the road, expecting me to follow, but my feet didn't move. Not an act of rebellion. I literally couldn't. Not when that invisible thread inside my chest pulled, twisted, tightened until breath came shallow. Ronan noticed within seconds. His gray eyes softened. "It's stronger than I thought." "What is?" I whispered. "The bond. It's responding to your fear. And to his." "He's afraid too," I murmured. Ronan nodded. "Of losing control. Of losing you." A pause. "Of being given another chance at something he believes he isn't allowed to have." A tremor rippled through me. "I shouldn't feel this much," I whispered. "Of course you shouldn't," Ronan replied. "But fate doesn't ask permission." Lightning flared far away. The storm's scent lingered on the air. Ronan stepped closer. "Listen to me. You're not safe with Kai right now. You saw him fight. You saw how close he was to shifting. He protected me. He could lose control protecting you. That's the danger." Ronan paused, letting the truth settle like cold rain. "Kai is strong. But the bond? It's stronger." My pulse stuttered. "What am I supposed to do?" "For tonight," Ronan said, "let him recover. Let him fight the wolf without the weight of your presence. And after tonight?" Ronan's expression shifted, harder, more uncertain. "After tonight, that depends on both of you." The wind rustled, carrying the scent of pine and distant rain, and faintly, so faintly I wasn't sure if I imagined it, something warm, familiar, electric. Kai. The thread pulled hard. I took a shaky breath. "Ronan, what if the bond hurts him more when I'm gone?" Ronan hesitated, and that hesitation answered more than words. "It does," he said finally. "But it's safer than the alternative." Safer. The word felt like a blade. Ronan gestured to the road again. "Come, I'll take you home." But when I tried to follow, my body resisted. My chest tightened painfully. My breath caught. My feet rooted, like something inside me refused to move farther away. Ronan saw it instantly. His gaze softened. Not pity, but understanding. "You feel him calling." I shook my head. "He didn't call." "No," Ronan murmured. "But the bond did." Something shifted deep in my chest. Sharp, aching, certain. A whisper without sound. Not words. Just need. I doubled over slightly, gripping my ribs. "It hurts." Ronan was beside me in 2 strides. "It's because he's still bleeding," Ronan said. "Pain amplifies the bond." My heart cracked open. He's hurt worse than he let me see. Ronan didn't deny it. "Then I can't just leave him," I said, breath trembling. "Not like this. Not alone." Ronan's jaw tightened. "Alina." I straightened, lifting my chin. "He almost died tonight because he was alone. That's exactly why you can't go back." But something inside me shifted. Quiet, steady, irrevocable. No, I whispered. It's why I have to. Ronan studied me for a long moment. A long, heavy moment. The rain around us seemed to hush. Finally, he exhaled, resigned. You won't survive the Packlands if I let you walk back alone. I'm not asking to walk. His eyes narrowed. What are you asking? For you to let me go to him. Ronan looked tired in a way I hadn't noticed before, like he'd seen too many stories like this end in blood. The pack will question me, he said. They'll question him. Then tell them the truth. That you're bonded? He asked bitterly. No, I said. That he's hurt. And I'm not leaving someone who risked everything for me. Ronan closed his eyes, and when he opened them, something in his gaze had changed. Not approval, not permission, but understanding. You're stubborn, he murmured. I've survived worse things than heartbreak, I said quietly. Ronan's lips twitched with something like wry pity. I'm afraid you don't understand what heartbreak means to a wolf. I swallowed. He turned fully toward the road again. I'll take you back to town. Night is nearly over. You'll rest. You'll get your car in the morning. Then we'll discuss what comes next. But Kai will still be alive? Ronan said firmly. He's strong, and I don't think either of you realizes it yet. But your distance might be the only thing keeping him from losing control tonight. The bond pulsed again, painfully. I closed my eyes against the ache. A whisper of warmth brushed my mind, faint as fog. Not a voice, not a thought. Just an ache shaped like his name. Kai. The thread pulled. I let it hurt, and followed Ronan down the road into the thinning night. Chapter 7. The Distance That Breaks and Binds. I didn't sleep. Ronan left me at the edge of town with a promise to check on Kai, but we both knew that was more for my conscience than an actual reassurance. He didn't trust me to stay away. He didn't trust Kai not to follow the pull of the bond, and I didn't trust myself not to run back into the storm. I sat in my tiny apartment, wrapped in a blanket that still smelled faintly of rain and pine and smoke. My fingers wouldn't stop trembling. My pulse wouldn't settle. Every breath felt too shallow or too deep. The pull hadn't stopped. It had sharpened. It felt like a presence, warm, aching, hovering just beyond reach, like fingers brushing through the space between my ribs, like a heartbeat sinking to mine. Kai. I pressed my hand to my sternum, trying to steady it. Please, I whispered to the empty room. Please be okay. It hurt. Not the dull ache from walking away. This was sharper. A sudden squeeze that made me double over. I gasped, clutching at the blanket. What was that? The bond pulsed again. A shock of pain. Not mine. Kai? I whispered, breath shaking. Kai, what's happening to you? It wasn't words I felt. He wasn't speaking, wasn't calling, but there was something. A flicker of panic, a spike of heat, a drop in strength. He was hurting. He was alone. And every instinct inside me screamed to go to him. I stood too fast, the blanket falling to the floor. I staggered toward the door, grabbing my jacket. My vision blurred with urgency. I had to get to him. I had to... A sharp knock at the door. I froze. The bond pulsed once, warily. I approached slowly, heart racing. Who is it? A quiet voice answered. Alina, open the door. Ronan. I unlatched it quickly. He entered without ceremony, hood dripping rain onto the floor. His clothes were damp, boots muddy, jaw tight with the kind of exhaustion you didn't get from weather alone. What happened? I asked immediately, gripping the edge of the counter to stay upright. Ronan, where's Kai? Is he? He's alive, Ronan said. But his tone wasn't relief. It was concern. My knees weakened. Then what? A fight broke out on the ridge as soon as I left him. Ronan said. The rival pack circled back, probably trying to track you or finish what they started. Ice flooded my veins. He was alone. He insisted on it, Ronan replied. Said he needed space. Said the bond was too erratic with you nearby. A sharp pang tore through my chest. Ronan noticed. He always noticed, his gaze softening for a heartbeat before sharpening again. I managed to break it up, but he took more hits than he let me see. And what? I demanded. Ronan hesitated. He isn't healing as fast as he should. That landed like a blow. He's exhausted, Ronan continued, bleeding, running on instinct, and trying to hold the wolf back at the same time. The room spun. He needs help. Ronan gave a single nod. He does. Then take me to him, I said. Please. Ronan closed his eyes briefly, a muscle in his jaw twitching. You know I can't. Yes, you can, I insisted. The bond. He's hurting. I can feel it. That's exactly why I can't take you. My stomach twisted. Why not? Ronan exhaled slowly. Because he's on the edge, Alina. The wolf is too close to the surface. If you go to him now, if he scents you the way he did before, he could lose control. And his control is the only thing keeping both of you alive. I looked away, tears burning. But he's in pain. I know. He's alone. I know. He's scared. Ronan's voice softened. I know. I inhaled sharply. Then why am I supposed to sit here doing nothing while he bleeds in the woods? Ronan studied me, eyes steady, voice low. You're not doing nothing, he said. You're saving him. How? By keeping your distance long enough for him to stabilize. His expression tightened with a rare hint of empathy. I know what you feel. A bond isn't kind. It's a tether made of instinct and desperation. It pulls. It hurts. It demands. It's killing him, I whispered. No, it's keeping him fighting. Silence thickened between us. Ronan stepped deeper into the room, lowering his voice. Alina, there's something else. My breath caught. What? The rival pack retreated, he said. But not far. They're sniffing around the ridge. They can smell the bond too. They know he's unstable. They know he's vulnerable, I whispered. Ronan nodded. And they know a human is involved. Fear slid cold and sharp through my ribs. They'll come after me. They might, Ronan admitted. But they'll go after him first. My hands curled into fists. Then we're wasting time. Ronan sighed. Alina. No, I said, stepping closer. Listen to me. You saw what happened in the cabin. He fought 2 wolves alone. He protected me. He didn't lose control. He held himself back even when it hurt him. He barely held it, Ronan said quietly. But he did, I insisted. That means something. He's stronger than you think. He's stronger than he thinks. Ronan regarded me, closely, quietly, as if weighing something heavy. Finally, he spoke. Do you trust him, Alina? The question vibrated through me. Images flashed in my mind. Kai collapsing at my feet. Kai shielding me from claws and teeth. Kai whispering as mine with a voice full of fear instead of triumph. Yes, I whispered. I do. Ronan nodded, slow, thoughtful. Then show me your arm. I blinked. My arm? He stepped closer, lifting his hand as if to check my wrist. Your pulse, he clarified. The bond reacts to stress. If I take you near him and your fear spikes, it will trigger him. I'm not afraid of Kai, I said. Not him, Ronan corrected. The wolf. I hesitated only a moment before extending my arm. Ronan pressed 2 fingers to my wrist. His skin was surprisingly warm. My pulse raced, but not from fear, not from danger, from something else. Ronan listened, then nodded slowly. Strong, steady, you're not panicking. Because keeping distance hurts worse, I whispered. His eyes held mine, assessing until the moment shifted. Resolved. All right, Ronan said quietly. Hope surged so sharply I inhaled too fast. What? What does that mean? It means, he said, I'll take you to him. My breath caught. Ronan. Thank you. But listen carefully, he warned, voice hardening. If at any point I tell you to run, you run. If I tell you to hide, you hide. If Kai tells you to leave, you leave. Understand? I nodded quickly. One more thing. Ronan's expression softened just slightly. If he shifts, don't touch him. Don't speak. Don't try to soothe him. A wolf in pain can't tell love from threat. My heart squeezed. But he loves... Ronan held up a hand, not unkindly. Not yet. Not safely. I swallowed hard. He stepped back toward the door, pulling his hood up. Grab your coat. We need to leave before the rival pack regroups. I slipped on my jacket with trembling hands. Ronan opened the door. The night was cold. The pull was stronger. And somewhere in the dark, a wolf was bleeding for me. I stepped into the wind. I'm coming, Kai. I whispered to the forest. Ronan nodded once. Let's bring him back before the bond destroys you both. Chapter 8. When the wolf calls your name. The forest at night felt like a living thing, breathing, watching, waiting. Ronan led the way, silent and sure-footed, moving through the damp underbrush with a confidence that made me wonder how many nights he'd walked these woods tracking wounded wolves. Mist drifted between the trees, curling around our legs like spectral fingers. Branches glistened with leftover rain, dripping softly in a rhythm that echoed my heart. The bond pulsed with every step we took deeper into the mountains. Not violently, not painfully, just insistently, like a heartbeat that wasn't mine. Is it supposed to feel like this? I whispered, feeling the invisible pull tighten with every yard we gained. Ronan didn't slow. For him? Yes. For you? It shouldn't... not this soon. What does that mean? He hesitated. It means the bond is responding on both sides, and one side is bleeding. My breath caught. He's still hurt. Hurt isn't the right word, Ronan said quietly. He's deteriorating. The ground seemed to tilt under my feet. I don't understand. Shifters heal fast. Why isn't he? Because he's resisting the bond, Ronan said. And resisting hurts him more than the wounds. The trees parted slightly, revealing slick, moss-covered cliffs and dark rock outcroppings. The forest smelled sharper here, pine, earth, and something metallic. Blood. I stumbled. Ronan steadied me with a firm hand on my elbow. Easy, he murmured. That scent isn't fresh. He passed through here hours ago. Kai's blood. Something inside me tightened, an ache that wasn't completely emotional. The bond flared, thrumming under my skin. I pressed a hand to my chest. Ronan, it's getting stronger. That's because we're close. He didn't need to say close to what, or to who. The trail bent around a fallen tree, and Ronan slowed for the first time since we left town. I lifted my gaze through the tangle of branches, and froze. There, half hidden in the shadows, was a deep gouge in the bark of a pine tree, 4 parallel slashes raked across the trunk. Claw marks. Huge ones. Here, Ronan said, kneeling by the roots. He touched a patch of darkened soil. When he lifted his fingers, they were stained with dried blood. My breath hitched. Kai's? Ronan nodded once. He was forced toward the ridge. Ronan's voice lowered, grim. The rival pack tried to corner him. My pulse skittered. Did they succeed? No, Ronan said. Otherwise, there'd be more blood. He straightened and looked to the right, down a narrow slope of rocks and tangled brush. He went that way, Ronan murmured. I didn't wait. I moved. Fast. Too fast. Alina, slow down, Ronan warned. But the bond surged like a rope pulled taut, and my legs followed that pulling instinct before my mind could argue. Every beat of my heart echoed with his name. Kai, Kai, Kai. Branches whipped against my jacket. Mud splashed my boots. The mist grew thicker, colder. The bond tugged sharply like a magnet finding its match. My foot slipped on wet stone and I stumbled forward, straight into Ronan's arms as he caught me from behind. For the love of the moon, he muttered, if you break your neck, he'll tear half the forest down. He set me upright, but he didn't release my arm. His fingers tightened just slightly. From here on, he said, you stay behind me. I nodded, breathless, trembling. Ronan faced forward again, and then a sound tore through the night. Not a howl, a groan, human, rough, broken. My heart stopped. Kai, I whispered. Ronan's back went rigid. Don't run. I tried, I really did, but the sound came again, closer this time, and every cell in my body snapped. I tore free from Ronan's grip and bolted forward. Alina, Ronan hissed, chasing after me. Too late. I crashed through the last curtain of trees and stumbled into a small clearing, and saw him. Kai. He was slumped against a boulder, half sitting, half collapsed. His shirt was torn, soaked through with blood and rain. One arm hung limply at his side. His chest rose and fell in shallow, uneven breaths. The moonlight, what little filtered through the clouds, caught on his skin, illuminating the sheen of sweat, the tremor in his muscles. His eyes were half open and glowing, not bright, just a soft, fevered gold. Kai, I breathed, stepping toward him. His head jerked slightly at the sound of my voice. His gaze struggled to focus, sliding across the darkness until he found me. A shudder ran through him. Alina. His voice cracked, hoarse and pained. No, no, you can't. My knees buckled beside him. I reached for his shoulder instinctively. And Ronan seized my wrist. Don't touch him, Ronan warned sharply. He's still halfway shifted, he may not know it's you. Kai growled, a low, warning sound, but not at Ronan. At the idea of Ronan keeping me away. Kai, Ronan murmured carefully. She's too close. You need to hold your form. Kai's breath tore out of him in a ragged gasp. I can't. His body convulsed once, hard enough to rock him against the stone. Kai, I cried out. Alina, stay back, Ronan snapped. But when Kai heard Ronan's tone, heard the command, he reacted violently. His head snapped toward Ronan. His pupils narrowed, his lips curled, revealing a flash of teeth, not fully shifted, but dangerously close. Easy, Ronan murmured, instantly raising both hands in a non-threatening gesture. Kai, focus on your breathing. The wolf is too close right now. Kai's voice was a broken rasp. She came back. The way he said it, soft, disbelieving, devastated. My eyes burned. I'm here, I whispered. I'm right here, Kai. A trembling sound escaped him, half growl, half exhale, as if the wolf inside him strained against its restraints. Alina. He swallowed hard, veins standing out along his neck. It hurts. Ronan's eyes flicked to me. He's fighting the shift. He's trying not to change in front of you. But why is he? Because the wolf wants you, Ronan said quietly. And Kai is trying to stop him. I froze. Let me help, I whispered. You already are, Ronan said. Your voice is keeping him anchored. I scooted slightly closer, slowly, carefully, so I was within arm's reach. Kai's breathing hitched. His eyes snapped fully open, burning gold. A shudder racked through him. Alina, he whispered again, voice fragile. Don't touch me. I can't control what he'll do. Tears blurred my vision. You're in pain. He laughed, broken, breathless. That's new? I swallowed hard. Kai, look at me. His gaze dragged toward mine like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I came back, I whispered. He flinched, chest shuddering. You shouldn't have. But I did. You shouldn't. If you say that again, I whispered fiercely, I'm going to throw you over my shoulder and carry you home myself. Despite the agony twisting through him, something like a weak smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. She threatens me, he murmured. Even now. Ronan gave a soft snort. She's the only one you listen to. Kai's eyes slid shut, his breath catching. Not by choice. Maybe not, I said softly, but you're listening. He opened his eyes again, slower this time, and something in them changed. The gold dimmed, the fevered edges softened. He was coming back to himself, not the wolf. Kai. Good, Ronan murmured. Stay with us. Don't fight the bond, just breathe with it. Kai inhaled shakily. I matched his breath. Slow, steady, together. His trembling began to ease, his muscles loosened. The glow in his eyes faded. He exhaled, a long broken sound of relief, and finally slumped fully against the boulder, exhausted. Ronan approached, cautiously checking Kai's wounds. He's stable, Ronan said, barely, but he's here. I reached forward slowly, giving Kai time to stop me. He didn't. I touched his uninjured hand. A pulse rippled through us. Not painful. Warm. Steady. The bond. Kai's fingers curled weakly around mine. He looked up at me, eyes heavy-lidded, voice barely a whisper. You came back. I'll always come back, I whispered. Ronan stepped back, watching us with an unreadable expression. Then, Ronan said quietly, we need to get him out of here, before the rival pack follows the scent. Kai stirred weakly. Don't want to move. You don't get a choice, Ronan said. Kai groaned. I leaned closer. Kai? His eyes opened, just barely. Stay, he murmured. Please, stay with me. My heart cracked open. I brushed his hair from his forehead. I'm not going anywhere. Ronan nodded once. Then we moved together. He knelt and lifted Kai carefully, Kai grunting in pain, but not resisting. His hand never left mine, and together we began the long walk out of the forest. The bond pulsed once, warm, steady, certain. We weren't out of danger, but we were no longer apart. Chapter 9. Where Hearts Break Open. Kai's weight leaned heavily into Ronan as we moved through the forest, but his fingers never loosened around mine, not once. His grip was weak, trembling, but it was constant. A lifeline, a tether. The bond pulsed gently between our palms like shared breath. The mist parted in wisps as Ronan led us up the narrow trail toward the ridge. The forest was quieter now. Not safe, not calm, but watching. Listening. Every few steps Kai's breath hitched, rough and uneven, and I felt the echo of it inside my own chest. Ronan noticed too. We need to stop, he said quietly. He's burning too much energy. Kai groaned, head lolling slightly toward my shoulder. Don't. Stop. Yes, we're stopping, Ronan said, a rare flicker of irritation in his voice. Before you pass out and force me to carry two stubborn people out of here. I touched Kai's face gently, guiding him as Ronan helped him sit against the shelter of a mossy boulder. His lashes fluttered. Alina, I'm here. You shouldn't. If you finish that sentence, I warned softly, I'll find a rock and knock you out myself. Kai's lips twitched. Terrifying. You have no idea. The faintest smile ghosted across his mouth. It faded quickly, replaced by a wince as pain seized his chest. Ronan crouched beside him, inspecting the bruising along Kai's ribs. 2 cracked ribs, maybe a third. Deep lacerations. You're lucky you're even conscious. Kai muttered. Doesn't feel like luck. Ronan ignored that. You'll live, but you need rest. And he glanced at me. You need calm. I understood the warning. If Kai's emotions spiked, the wolf would surge again. I shifted closer, lowering myself onto my knees in front of him. My knee brushed his thigh, and the bond fluttered, soft, warm, unmistakable. His eyes closed as if the contact soothed him, undoing something tight inside. Ronan stood, scanning the tree line. I'll give you two a moment. Don't move him. Kai opened one eye, glaring weakly. I'm not going anywhere. Ronan snorted and walked a short distance away, leaving us in a quiet bubble of mist and moonlight. Silence stretched. I traced my fingers lightly along Kai's forearm, careful of the cuts. His skin burned with heat up close. Feverish, but not from infection. I felt the wolf beneath, restless and aching. His breathing steadied. Alina, his voice was hoarse. Why did you come back? A question with 1,000 answers. I settled on the truest one. Because every step away from you felt wrong. His throat bobbed. The bond? It's not just the bond, I whispered. His eyes snapped open, startled, raw. Don't say things you don't understand. Then explain it to me, I countered. Tell me why being near you feels like breathing for the first time. Tell me why it hurts when you're in pain. Tell me why I can't leave you in these woods to bleed alone. He stared at me, like he couldn't believe I was real, like he might fall apart if he blinked. Lightning flickered far away. The mist glowed dimly around us. Alina, his voice broke. I'm dangerous to you. I don't believe that. His hand tightened around mine, reflexive, desperate. I killed her. The words sliced the air clean open. I stilled. Kai's eyes were wide, glassy, haunted. My mate. My first one. I killed her. Something in the forest shifted, as if the trees themselves leaned in to listen. He swallowed hard. We were young. The bond hit too fast, too strong. She tried to calm me after a fight. I was already half-shifted, bleeding, furious. The wolf surged. I didn't... His voice cracked. He shook. I didn't recognize her, he whispered. Not fast enough. I reached for him instinctively. He caught my wrist. Not rough. Not resisting. Just pleading. Don't touch me, he begged. Not until you know what you're touching. My heart twisted. Kai. I shattered everything I ever cared about in one moment, he said. I won't do it again. I won't do it to you. You won't, I insisted. You don't know that. His shout echoed through the clearing, ragged and despairing. Ronan's head snapped our way, but I held up a hand. I turned back to Kai, pushing past the fear in his eyes and finding the man beneath. You're not the same person, I said softly. You're not the same wolf. Instinct doesn't change, he spat. The bond doesn't change. It wants what it wants. And when it surges, it doesn't care about rules or restraint. Then let it want, I whispered. Kai froze. The mist held its breath. He stared at me, stunned. What? Let it want, I repeated. Let the bond feel, let it pull, let it hurt, let it heal, let it be what it is. I cupped his cheek gently despite his warning. But don't fight it alone. Something inside him crumpled. His forehead fell against my shoulder, breath shaking against my collarbone. I wrapped my arms carefully around him, mindful of his ribs, mindful of the wolf, mindful of the raw grief trembling through him. He didn't shift. He didn't lose control. He clung to me like someone drowning, finally finding solid ground. After a long moment, he whispered, voice breaking, Alina, I'm so damn scared. I held him tighter. So am I. His next breath hitched, and I felt the bond pulse between us like a living thing, warm and steady. Ronan approached quietly from the shadows, stopping a respectful distance away. He's stable, Ronan murmured. We need to move him soon. The moon's shifting. The pack will be on the ridge before dawn. I nodded. Just a minute. Ronan paused, then stepped back again. Kai lifted his head slowly. His eyes glowed, not with the fever-bright gold of losing control, but with something softer, warmer, human. I don't know how to protect you, he whispered. Start by letting me stay, I whispered back. His breath trembled, and he nodded, small, fragile, but real. Ronan returned with a steadying hand. All right, time to get you both somewhere safe. Kai leaned into Ronan's support, but his hand reached instinctively for mine again. I took it. Our fingers intertwined. Warm. Sure. Certain. The bond pulsed, strong and steady, and this time, the pull wasn't frantic or painful. This time, it was right. We stepped forward together, and the forest exhaled. For the first time all night, I felt hope. Chapter 10. The moon decides what we cannot dawn had not yet broken, but the night had thinned. The sky washed in fading storm gray, the forest trembling in that fragile breath before the sun. Every shadow felt stretched, listening, watching. Ronan moved ahead of us, Kai leaning heavily on him with one arm while refusing to let go of my hand with the other. His grip was warm, shaky, but determined, like he feared that letting go meant losing something he could never get back. The bond pulsed softly between our palms, not desperate this time, not painful, steady, alive. We reached a rocky ledge overlooking a narrow ravine, the path twisting downward between pines and boulders slick with mist. The forest was silent, save for the occasional drip of rainwater sliding from leaf to ground. We're close, Ronan murmured. My pack set up a boundary here years ago. It'll mask Kai's scent long enough to rest. Kai winced at the word pack, but he didn't argue. Ronan motioned for us to follow him across a fallen log bridging the ravine. I stepped carefully, my boots squelching against wet bark. Halfway across, Kai stiffened, not from pain, from instinct. I felt it too, a sharp tremor inside the bond like a wire pulled taut. Something was wrong. Kai, I whispered. His grip crushed my fingers. His eyes flared gold, widening with sudden primal fear. He rasped a single word, run. The forest exploded. Wolves, 3, maybe 4, burst from the tree line across the ravine. Dark shapes, teeth flashing, claws raking stone as they charged. Not wolves, not like Kai. These were twisted, gaunt, their fur matted, eyes glowing with something more savage than instinct, feral hunger. The rival pack. Ronan stepped in front of us instantly, every line of his body going cold and lethal. Move, he barked. Kai groaned but forced himself to stand between me and the oncoming wolves, his body still trembling from the earlier surge. You can't fight them, Ronan snapped. Not in your condition. Kai snarled, baring his teeth, not a full shift but close. Not asking your permission. Kai! I grabbed his arm, but he twisted sharply, pushing me behind him. His voice shook. Stay behind me, Alina. The wolves lunged. Ronan leapt forward, shifting midair. His form rippled violently, fur bursting from skin, bones contorting until a massive gray wolf slammed into the lead attacker with earth-shaking force. Kai stumbled but held his ground, his breath ragged. I felt his heartbeat skip, felt the bond pulse in warning. Kai, you're not healed, I cried. He turned his head toward me, something wild in his eyes. I don't care. If they touch you. A snarl cut him off as another wolf barreled toward us from the side. Kai shoved me backward, then he roared. The sound tore through the clearing, raw, furious, unrestrained. It shook the branches overhead. It froze the attacking wolf mid-stride. His eyes glowed pure gold. His skin tremored. The wolf inside surged. Kai! I screamed. He dropped to one knee, fingers digging into the dirt. His back arched violently. Not again. Not now. Not with enemies closing in. I rushed toward him. Kai snapped his gaze up, teeth bared, eyes burning too brightly. "Don't touch me," he choked out. "I won't. This time Alina, go." "No," I shouted over the chaos. "I'm not running from you." He shook, fighting the shift with everything he had. His breath came in ragged bursts. The bond pulsed again. Pain, fear, need. He was unraveling. I dropped to my knees in front of him. His eyes widened in terror. "Alina, don't—" "I'm not afraid of you," I whispered fiercely. "I trust you. I trust both of you." His breath stilled. I reached out, slowly, and cupped his face in both hands. His body went rigid, the wolf inside surging violently at the contact. His pupils blew wide. A growl vibrated through his chest, but he didn't pull away. He didn't hurt me. Not then. Not after. Not ever. "Kai," I whispered, leaning closer. "Come back." The bond pulsed. Warm, steady, sure. Kai inhaled sharply. Something inside him shifted. The gold in his eyes dulled, softened, mixed with ember brown. The tremors eased. His breath steadied. His hands, which had been claws moments ago, unclenched and gripped my wrists carefully, reverently. The wolf retreated. Kai collapsed against me, forehead pressing to my shoulder. You grounded me," he whispered, stunned. "No one has ever—" A snarl tore through the clearing. Ronan slammed another wolf to the ground, but two more surged forward. Kai stiffened in my arms. "Alina," behind me. "No," came a voice behind us. Ronan, still half wolf, half man, had shifted back enough to speak, blood dripping down his arm. "She stays with you," he growled. "It's safer." Kai blinked in shock. "Ronan, what?" Ronan turned to face the wolves circling closer, his expression fierce. "You two are bound," he said. "The fight's already chosen its side." Before Kai or I could respond, the rival alpha stepped into the clearing. Massive, dark-furred, eyes glowing with an unnatural, malevolent red. His gaze locked on me, then on Kai. And he spoke. Voice deep and rattling, like stones grinding beneath the earth. "She is human," he growled. "She weakens you." Kai snarled, teeth flashing. "Touch her and die." The rival alpha's lips curled. "She is not yours." "Yes," Kai hissed, stepping forward as the bond flared between us. "She is." The words hit me like a flame to the chest. The rival wolves snarled and lunged. Ronan launched himself at one. Kai moved to shield me, but the alpha came for us. Kai stumbled. He wasn't fully healed, but he kept himself between me and the monster charging through the mist. The alpha leapt, and I grabbed Kai's hand. The instant our fingers intertwined, the bond ignited. Heat shot through my veins, through his, a brilliant pulse of light no one else could see. Kai gasped, back arching as strength surged through him. Real strength, not the wild, broken instinct from before. He turned, meeting the alpha mid-lunge with a force that shook the ground beneath us. They collided. Teeth flashed, claws tore, bone cracked. Kai fought like a creature reborn, like he finally wasn't fighting alone. The alpha snapped at Kai's throat. Kai dodged, slashed, ripped. The alpha lunged again. Kai caught him by the scruff, muscles trembling but unyielding, and threw him across the clearing. The creature hit the ground hard and didn't rise. Breathing ragged, Kai staggered backward, straight into my arms. I caught him, both of us shaking. His blood streaked my hands. His breath warmed my cheek. His heart thundered against mine. He turned his face toward me, slowly, deliberately, and whispered, "Alina, you saved me." I cupped his cheek. "And you saved me." Ronan approached, human again, though bloodied and exhausted. "The rival pack is fleeing," The Alpha is down. They won't return tonight. Kai lifted his head slightly. Tonight? Ronan gave us a grim look. The pack will gather at dawn. They've felt the bond. They'll want answers. Kai's fingers tightened gently around mine. Ronan stepped back. Both of you. Prepare yourselves. The moon has decided, but the pack hasn't. Kai looked at me, really looked at me, and something deep and certain passed between us. Whatever came next, we'd face it together. Chapter 11. What the pack demands, the heart defies. Dawn spilled slowly through the trees, pale, cold, uncertain. The storm had finally quieted, leaving the forest washed clean and humming with a low, thrumming tension. The kind of tension that came before a reckoning. Kai leaned heavily against me as we followed Ronan back toward the ridge. His steps were slow but steady, his breath shallow but no longer ragged. Every few minutes, I felt his fingers twitch around mine, as if checking that I was still there, still real, still his. I stayed close, always close. Ahead of us, through breaks in the trees, shapes moved, dark silhouettes gathering in the thinning mist. Wolves. Dozens of them. The pack. Ronan looked back once, meeting Kai's gaze with something between warning and sympathy. They're expecting us. Us? I whispered. Yes, Ronan said. You are part of this now, whether you understand it or not. Kai squeezed my hand gently, his voice low. If they scare you, if anything feels wrong, you leave. I shook my head. Not without you. His jaw tightened, but he didn't argue this time. By the time we reached the ridge, the sky had begun to blush faintly gold. The wolves encircled the clearing in a silent, watching ring, massive, fur shimmering in dawn's light, eyes sharp with knowledge and judgment. A few had shifted to human form. Some lingered in shadows. Ronan stepped forward first. Kai and I followed. I felt the weight of every gaze settle on us, on him bleeding, on me human, on our hands intertwined. A murmur rippled through the pack when they noticed that. Kai, hail! A voice boomed. An older woman stepped forward, tall, silver-haired, her eyes bright and piercing as ice water. Authority radiated from her in quiet waves. This was the Beta. I didn't need to be told. You returned to us wounded, she said, assessing Kai's injuries with a sharp clinical eye. We felt the clash on the ridge, the bond surge, the rival Alpha's fall. Her gaze slid to me, and we felt her. My chest tightened. Kai, she continued, you bring a human into our territory. You spill blood under the moon. You break two sacred laws. I stepped forward before Kai could. He didn't break anything, I said. He was dying. I helped him. He protected me. The Beta's eyes narrowed, not cruel, but curious. You speak boldly for someone with no understanding of our kind. I raised my chin. Then explain it to me. A few wolves murmured, taken aback. Kai stiffened at my side, torn between pride and panic. Ronan cleared his throat. Beta Ilara, she isn't the threat you think. Oh, she's not a threat, Ilara said, but she is a problem. Kai stepped forward, shoulders squared despite his pain. If you're going to accuse someone, accuse me. Leave her out of it. Ilara tilted her head. I can't leave her out of it, Kai. The moon won't allow it. Silence rippled across the clearing. Kai's grip tightened on mine until our fingers pressed bone to bone. Kai, hail, Ilara said formally. Step forward. He did. Alina, she said. Step forward with him. I inhaled shakily and obeyed. Ilara studied us for a long, heavy moment. Then her voice softened in something like wonder. The bond has rooted. Gasps and growls followed the declaration. Kai's shoulders dropped slightly, relief and dread warring in him. I swallowed. What does that mean? Ilara faced me fully. It means the wolf has chosen you. I didn't choose, Kai began, but Ilara raised a hand. No bond is chosen. It simply is. She stepped closer, nostrils flaring as she inhaled my scent. I resisted the instinct to step back. Then she looked at Kai. You fought the shift for her, she said quietly. You grounded your wolf through pain that would break most alphas. Kai looked away, jaw rigid. And she calmed you, Ilara continued. A human calming a half-shifted wolf is a miracle I have never seen. Her gaze softened as it drifted back to me. Your fear was for him, not of him. That is what saved you both. Something warm rippled through the bond. Kai exhaled shakily. But a bond this early, this intense. Ilara's expression darkened. The pack will not accept it without challenge. Ronan stepped in front of us. Beta. The rival alpha is down. The threat is still out there. And the pack will address it, she snapped. But first, we address this. She gestured to Kai. Your wolf has claimed her. Then to me. And whether you admit it or not, the bond has begun to claim you. My heart thudded painfully. Kai turned to me slowly. Alina. His voice broke. You don't have to say anything. Don't feel pressured. Don't. I'm not pressured, I whispered. I'm connected. His breath caught. Ilara stepped between us, voice rising. For a bond to be acknowledged, accepted, both halves must speak. Kai tensed. Ilara, no. She ignored him. Alina, she said, you stand in the territory of wolves. Before the pack. Before the moon. Before fate itself. My heart slammed in my chest. Do you acknowledge, she asked, that this man, this wolf, has touched something in you that cannot be undone? I felt the bond pulse. Slow, warm, certain. I looked at Kai, at the man whose pain echoed in my bones, at the wolf who trembled when I touched him, at the soul who had nearly died for me. Yes, I whispered. I acknowledge it. Kai stared at me like the world was breaking open beneath his feet. Ilara turned to him. Kai Hale, you stand wounded, afraid of your own power, marked by the past you refuse to forgive. Kai swallowed hard. Do you acknowledge this human as the one your wolf has chosen? A beat of silence. Then Kai spoke. Voice raw, cracked, terrified, and honest. Yes. The word echoed through the clearing like thunder. The bond surged, bright, warm, overwhelming. My breath caught as the invisible thread between us ignited, becoming something more solid, more undeniable. But Ilara was not done. One last thing, she said quietly. A bond cannot thrive on fear. It needs truth. All of it. She stepped aside. Kai's face twisted, pain, fear, longing warring in his expression. Alina, he whispered. You need to know everything before you decide anything. I nodded. Tell me. His voice trembled. My wolf didn't kill my first mate. Ronan's head snapped up. Ilara froze. Kai's eyes glistened. I did. My breath stilled. He continued, voice hollow. Not with claws. Not with a shift. She died because she trusted me, because I wasn't strong enough to protect her from a rival alpha who wanted to break me. A tremor ran through him. The night she died, he said, I swore I would never let the bond root again. Never let anyone near enough to be hurt because of me. My throat tightened painfully. He lifted my hand, the one he still held, and pressed it shakily to his chest over his heartbeat. But then you came, he whispered, and I can't breathe without you. I can't think without feeling you in my veins. The bond is stronger than my fear, stronger than my past. His voice cracked open, and I am terrified, but I'm more terrified of losing you. The pack fell silent. The forest held its breath. I stepped closer, tears spilling freely. Kai Hale. He looked at me as if bracing for heartbreak. I'm not leaving. I whispered. You don't have to fight this alone. The bond pulsed, bright, fierce, whole. Ilara exhaled slowly. Then the pack will recognize it. A chorus of howls erupted, some welcoming, some uncertain, some angry, but none defiant. Ronan approached, resting a hand on Kai's shoulder. It's done. Kai sagged, exhausted. I caught him against me. He whispered into my hair, voice raw with relief and disbelief. Alina, I'm yours. And I'm yours, I breathed. The bond sealed, quiet, warm, irrevocable. But the dawn had only just begun. Chapter 12. After the storm. The sun rose slowly over the ridge, spilling warm, golden light across the clearing where the pack had gathered. The last remnants of mist curled upward, dissolving into the morning sky. It felt surreal. After a night of blood, fear, and truths that fractured both of us, that dawn could look this gentle. Kai leaned against me, exhausted but alive, his head resting lightly against mine. Every breath he drew was steadier than the one before. Every tremor from the night before had softened. His wolf, once frantic, half feral, burning painfully beneath his skin, was quiet now, not gone, just resting. Ronan approached, his clothes torn, dried blood streaked across his jaw, but his posture relaxed. The pack has accepted the bond. Mostly. Kai snorted softly. Mostly means half of them still want to challenge me. Ronan shrugged. Half want to challenge you on any given day, bond or no bond. Kai grimaced. The expression was hardly amused, but it loosened something tight inside me. He was safe enough to complain, safe enough to tease, safe enough to breathe. Come on, Ronan said, nodding toward the path leading down the mountain. You both need rest, real rest, not the kind where wolves are circling and prophecies are snapping at your heels. I glanced at Kai. Can you walk? He glanced back, lips twitching. With you? Yes. A warmth bloomed under my ribs. We followed Ronan down the trail. The wolves dispersed into the trees or shifted back into their human forms, drifting after us at a respectful distance. A kind of quiet reverence hung over them, as if witnessing the bond route had humbled even the fiercest of them. When we reached the valley floor, Ronan slowed his pace, allowing Kai and me to step ahead while he lingered behind. Kai inhaled deeply, wincing only slightly. Smells different now. How? I asked. Lighter, he murmured. Like the forest knows the worst is over. I smiled. Is it? For now? He brushed his thumb gently across my knuckles. The rival pack retreated, the bond stabilizing, and you. His voice softened. You're here. We reached a clearing where the trees thinned enough to catch the first full rays of morning sun. Kai stopped, turning to face me. Alina, he said quietly. I looked up, searching his expression. His eyes, warm amber now, no flicker of gold, held mine as though they anchored him. Last night, I thought I'd lose control. I thought the wolf would take everything from me again. But you. His hand rose to cut my cheek. Not trembling, not hesitant. Sure, reverent. You pulled me back. Because you let me, I whispered. He shook his head. Because fate gave me a chance I didn't think I deserved. The sunlight caught his features, softening the scars and shadows. His face was vulnerable in a way I had never seen, not even in the cabin, not even on the clearing floor as he fought the shift. I'm not perfect, he whispered. I'm not healed. But this bond, this thing between us, I'm done fighting it alone. Then don't fight it, I murmured. Fight with me. A breath caught in his throat. Slowly, he drew me closer. Our foreheads touched, and the bond pulsed softly, warm, steady, gentle as a heartbeat. It didn't burn now, didn't hurt. It settled into me like something that had always been meant to be there. Kai exhaled shakily, closing his eyes. I don't know how to be what you deserve. You're already everything I want. His breath trembled with something between relief and disbelief. I want to protect you. I smiled softly. Then protect me. I want to stay with you. Then stay. The bond pulsed again, stronger this time. A warm rush washed over my skin, through my chest, threading deeper into him. Kai's fingers curled into my hair, drawing me closer until nothing existed but his breath on my skin, his heartbeat brushing mine, the quiet morning, the soft glow of something neither of us could deny anymore. He kissed me, slowly, carefully, as if afraid I'd break, as if he'd waited lifetimes to do it. The world hushed around us. The forest seemed to inhale as one. Warm sunlight brushed the edges of the clearing. The bond settled into place. No longer a spark, no longer a frantic pulse. A promise. When Kai finally pulled back, his breath lingered on my lips. His hands rested at my waist, steady and warm. We still have a lot to face, he murmured. I know. The pack's going to test us. I know. And rival wolves won't forget what happened. I know. And he exhaled. I'm still afraid. I lifted his hand and pressed it to my heart. I am too. His eyes softened. But you're staying anyway. Always. His chest rose in a shuddered breath. Then he pulled me into his arms, holding me tight, solid, warm, alive. His heartbeat thudded steadily against mine. Ronan's voice called from the path behind us, breaking the moment gently. You two done sealing your fate? We've got ground to cover. Kai growled under his breath. He has terrible timing. I laughed. Actually laughed for the first time since before the storm began. Ronan's right. Let's get home. Kai brushed his thumb across my cheek before taking my hand again. Our home, he said softly. I blinked. What? Kai looked out at the trees, the mountains, the path leading back to something neither of us could name yet. Not the pack's territory. Not your apartment. Not the cabin. He looked back at me, eyes warm and sure. Wherever you are, he said, is home. My heart thudded with such fierce tenderness that I didn't know how to hold it all. We walked together, hand in hand, the morning sun warming our backs as the forest opened ahead. The worst was behind us, the future stretched before us. A wolf and a human. A bond rooted by moonlight and fear and impossible tenderness. A love that defied pack law, rival wolves, curses, and fate itself. As we reached the edge of the woods, I leaned against Kai's shoulder. What now? I asked softly. Kai squeezed my hand. Now, he murmured, we build something new. And as the sun rose higher, casting gold across the world, I knew one truth with absolute certainty. The Alpha's heart was cold. Until I held it. And I wasn't letting go.